Test, test. Can you still hear the
I
static?
can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Static though?
No, there's a bit of static. There was static coming through, but it's still there. Still there.
I think that was me when I nudged it. Is it gone now?
Yeah. So let's move these. Round. Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Live from Charleston, South Carolina for tonight's USL Championship match. Two teams separated by 2 points in the Eastern Conference are set to take center stage for the first time in 2 years at MUSC Health Stadium. Hey everyone, we welcome you inside the broadcast booth. My name's Poppy Miller. Alongside me, Derek Broadley. And Derek, the Battery unbeaten at home, St. Louis unbeaten on the road, both off to a flying start this season. And for St. Louis, they've been able to gain some consistency. One of those players that we want to watch started every game so far this season. It's Russell Cicerone.
Yeah, Cicerone's an old-fashioned winger who likes to come in off the line and link up play. He can score goals and he certainly can create goals. When he does come in, he's got an excellent right foot that gets plenty of shots in on goal. So he's one the home team's really going to have to look after tonight.
He's got 3 goals and 1 assist on the season so far in his first year with St. Louis. Definitely one to keep your eye on in the attack. And talking of attack, the Mike Anhauser, the one that we want to watch, it's the super sub, Q Daly.
Yeah, Daly made his mark on this team last week when he came off the bench and really turned the game around. The team that was struggling, he came in and was fantastic. He's so unpredictable. He's a young lad trying to make his way in the game, and he's got great technique, great speed, and the goals obviously capped off an outstanding performance.
He played a huge role in the first goal, and like you can see there, scored the second to tie it up against Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Q Daly, the 18-year-old, definitely one to watch. Well, I managed to catch up with head coach Mike Anhauser earlier this week to preview tonight's match.
So they're solid defensively, and they have good players up front. So as a team, you know, they're good on both sides of the ball. They can score goals and defend, so they can hit you in 2 ways. So we've got to be a little ready for either way. We got caught last week. Pittsburgh came out, surprised us, and jumped on us, and really caught us. And I think this week we have to be prepared for both.
Stadium. We are just about ready to go for kickoff. The teams are out, and you can see pink out here honouring breast cancer survivors and fighters. Poppy Miller alongside Derek Broadley. Thank you for joining us for tonight's match. Wherever you are, well, there the captains are with the officials and our honorary captains. Let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups. Starting with Anthony Pulis' side for St. Louis, Derek. Well, we highlighted Cicerone, of course, in the preview, but another one to keep your eye on, Sam Fink, the captain at the back.
Yeah, for sure, and I think one of the big things tonight, you know, with the game is going to be how they forward Barner and Reynolds, how they're going to cope with the width that the battery bring, and then, as I said, Fink's going to really come after that defence, and then Van Lassen, you know, his goalkeeper. So it's going to be a really good big test for this team, coming to a team that really is hard to beat at home.
A couple of strikers out on injury. Dikwa and Greg get the start up top. Let's take a look at Mike Anhauser's starting 11, because speaking of injuries, a couple of injuries to the back line, giving Kyle Nelson and Van Schaik the chance at the back with Taylor Mueller. Three-man back line. Yeah,
again, you know, Mike Anhauser, he's kept his same shape, isn't he? He changes the personnel a little bit because of the, you know, some forced injuries really, but it's the same shape. You know, Rittmeyer comes back in, he's very familiar with that position, as is Pigott on the wide right. You've got Candela and Anunga. Lewis, although on the graphic it looks like he's playing out wide right, he'll probably play as a 10. Marini will certainly play on the left, and Boscher will marshal it up front with Kuzminski at the back, who is having a fantastic season.
Dante Marini will make his first start for the black and yellow tonight. 2 goals on the season so far, 2 game winners. You've got to say he's been coming in as of late as a bit of a super sub.
Yeah, and I think that now that you know, his fitness is really 100% now, so he really probably looking forward to this start. I know he's a crowd favourite, and I think, as I said, you know, his performances have warranted him getting this starting lineup. You know, I always say to young players that when there's injuries around, someone's misfortune is another one's fortune, and hopefully tonight, you know, Rittmeyer and Marini will take advantage of their good fortune right now.
Beautiful evening here on Daniel Island in Charleston, South Carolina. 80 degrees at kickoff, and 2 teams here that were divided by conference lines now meet between the lines. We are just about ready to go. It's going to be Lewis Hilton to get us underway, and there we are, all the way back to the captain, Sam Fink. And of course, for St. Louis, Derek, they didn't have a match last weekend due to weather. So coming into tonight's match, you've got to say, could work in both ways for them.
Yeah, no, I mean, they could say, you know, well, we've had another good rest and a good layoff. Or they could say, you know, they've sort of got out their rhythm a little bit, and they're on great form, aren't they? I mean, they're unbeaten away. So, you know, this is going to be a big test for both teams here, and I think can have a big bearing on the season, I think, as to where both teams end up.
And of course for St. Louis, that time of the year again for both these sides, actually, with the Open Cup coming up. But for St. Louis, this is the first of 3 road matches for them coming up in 7 days. The Battery, of course, in the Open Cup as well, will travel to Greenville on Wednesday night. And that's just difficult scheduling at this time of the year.
I think it's great for players, though, now. I think they like to play, you know, Saturday, midweek Saturday. So I don't think it'll be too much. And as I said, they'll have big squads, and I'm sure they'll all be looking forward to having some games. And the Open Cup gives the coaches a chance to play players they may not have played.
Cicerone there trying to feed one through to Greg. Greg on the ball now for Jepson. The Battery safety in numbers, but it almost fell through for him, and what a save that is in the early going by Kuzminski. Cicerone and Kuzminski going at it. The referee will give a free kick though.
I think there's just a little worry there for the Battery. I think Mueller and Nelson there, you know, which one of you get it? Who's going to get it? Who's going to go in? And yeah, there was Nelson. Both of them were just a little bit there, a little bit hesitant. And as I said, you know, hopefully they get that out of the way very early in the game.
Taylor Mueller will patrol the back line for Mike Anhauser. 4 time in Charleston Battery appearances. Really been a mainstay on the side. Has started every match, played every minute so far this year, and did the same with all but one in the 2018 season.
I think through this period of matches with the injuries, Taylor Mueller is going to be absolutely vital to this Battery team. His leadership, his experience, his knowledge. Now I get a chance to work with him with the youth kids, and he's a real leader. He's a real mainstay in the team. But tonight, you know, I think they're going to need all his experience, you know, to marshal Van Schaik, who's not a youngster, but, you know, hasn't played here at that position for a while, and then Nelson to sort of marshal him through that. So, big night.
Fenlerson to get us away. This could be an opportunity for Greg. And you can see there,
What has the referee given? A free kick, I think, at the top of the box, Derek.
Yeah, and I think, again, so there, Taylor Mueller lost the first free kick. He was recovering back. I actually thought it was a very good challenge from our angle, but, you know, we'll probably get a chance to see that again. And as I said, I think the referee's given a free kick. This is a really dangerous situation, and you know, the Battery's already recently gone a goal behind early, and they certainly don't want to be doing that again.
The referee man in the middle tonight, Louis Gardia, assisted by Trent Robert Van Hatsma and Justin Gulke. And the fourth official for tonight's match, Cameron Porter. Well, a couple of options over this dead ball. Jepson's there, along with Hilton. And of course, for St. Louis, been very successful on free kick and set piece opportunities. Hilton and Jepson, the nominated too. The Battery with everyone back. Here it is, it's Hilton, what a strike! But Kuzminski is there to deny.
I think you've got to say well done to Joe Kuzminski for setting up his wall. I actually thought that was a left footer. I thought it should have been Jepson there just to whip it round the wall. I think it made it easier for the goalkeeper because he got a good view of it. But let off for the Battery there early on, and showing the intent that this St. Louis team is coming here to play with.
Long ball up, looking for Arthur Boschua up top. Sam Fink, the captain, tries to shield to safety. Cannot get it away clearly. Here's Dante Marini. Gets one into the box this time. Sam Fink knocks one into Boehner, who can clear up top. Here comes St. Louis on the attack. Cicerone takes a touch inside the box. Outnumbered, lays one off to the top. Jepson almost runs out of greenery. Will lay one back to Russell Cicerone, the man that we highlighted in the pre-game. 3 goals and 1 assist on the season so far, and his first season with St. Louis, of course, came from the USL champion of the East, FC Cincinnati, last year.
Straight away early on, the early signs is that the St. Louis team have come here to attack, all-out attack. They've got two very good strikers. They've got 2 good wide players, and their movement is going to really trouble the Battery tonight. And right now, the Battery haven't really got into it. They've given away a couple of sloppy free kicks. They haven't really had any good possession right now. So, as I said, the home crowd's going to have to get behind them to really raise the game so that they can claw their way back into this game and show what they're all about.
Matt Boehner here on the near side. To Fink, the captain, who actually came through the St. Louis Academy. Makes his 9th start now of his 9th appearance alongside Kavita. Drops one out wide. Romario Pigott with the pressure can find the feet of Zico Lewis, but well read at the back by a bend. Hear the shout from Anthony Pulis down below to get up into the attack. And if his name sounds familiar, it should. His father, Tony Pulis, has managed several big clubs in England, including Stoke City, Crystal Palace, West Brom, and Middlesbrough, of course. Jepson back to Fink. Boschua is there with the pressure.
Just looking at this game now, Romario Pigott and Nico Rittmeyer are going to be vital to the Battery tonight. They're very forward-thinking players.
It's a good turn by Cicerone. Here he comes into the box. Nelson is there with the pressure. Can he get the cross away? Still Cicerone. It went out of bounds on that occasion. A goal kick for Joe Kuzminski.
It was good play there by Nelson. But as I was saying, Nico Rittmeyer and Romario Pigott, who really are offensively minded players, the way the shape's up tonight now, they're going to have to do a lot of work behind the ball tonight. And I think Nelson was just complaining there too, Pigott, that he's going to have to track his runners, and something that's a little bit not natural to them, so they're going to have to really come to grips with that early so that they can work what's best for the team.
And unable to get a touch on it in the middle. Jepson roaming all over the park in the early going. All the way back to Mueller, into Anunga, the 2018 Battery MVP, the Cameroonian international. A real workhorse in the middle of the park for the Battery. Over 80% of his passes completed so far this season. There's the rookie Kyle Nelson out of Wofford College. Up to Pigott.
Anthony Pulis' team is a traditional 4-4-2, isn't it? Good old-fashioned formation. He's got his 2 strikers that are very mobile. They're putting pressure on, and 2 against 3 at the back. They've got a straight four in midfield.
Won by Guy Bend in the middle. There's Dikwa. There's Albert Dikwa. Fantastic challenge from Brian Anunga. And the Battery break away out of the back. Here's Zico Lewis for Rittmeyer. Takes a touch inside and he'll earn the free kick there.
And I think Piggott and Rittmeyer, I was talking about their defensive roles, but I think if they can their best defensive roles would be getting on the ball and really getting at the two fullbacks. As I said, if they can do that, that will pin St. Louis back into their half and free up a little bit of space in midfield now. And we just saw Anunga there, you know, he's fully committed to doing his change, as is Candela. So I think it's vitally important that the shape, as this game settles down after about 10-15 minutes, we'll really get to see how this game's going to shape up.
Jared Van Schaik over the dead ball. All the way back to Mueller. Just saw Anthony Pulis on your screen there. We managed to catch up with him just before kickoff. Talking about his travelling and the long travel schedule that lays ahead of this side. Here's Rittmeyer looking for the delivery. It's a good one towards the back post. Candela picks it up, lofts one into the air, and no worries at the back for Jake Fenderson.
I was complaining he got a little kick after that. You know, as I said, it was the referee's just talking to Zico Lewis. I said, I think they all thought it was a foul there. I think everyone's eyes was on the ball, and I think what Candela was saying, that he got a little bit of an after kick up, you know, once he took that shot. But as I said, I'm sure the referee had his eyes on the ball.
Fenderson, the 26-year-old, 4 clean sheets in 9 appearances for St. Louis. In his second season with the side, drops it just before the halfway line. Anunga wins the second ball. Basher was looking to flick it on. It falls back for the captain. Launched into the attack. Dikwa is on the run. Mueller's there looking to shield him off. Can't quite do it. And what a strike on the volley that was. The late run in from Guy Ben there.
And you have to say that should be a goal. That should be 1-0 to the visitors. That was an unbelievable cross in there. Taylor Mueller's gone out there, hasn't quite made the tackle. And then Nelson and Van Schaik, no one picked up a bend. He got right in between. That was a fantastic effort, and he wasn't too far away.
Dikwa dropped one absolutely on a dime for the Israel international. Hilton for Jepson. Dikwa again this time in a foot race with Mueller. Mueller will come out on top on this occasion. Tries to find the feet of Van Schaik, but that'll be a throw in for the visitors. And speaking of visitors, welcome to everybody joining us from Llewellyn's Pub tonight in St. Louis.
Right now, they'll be very pleased with how their team started, haven't they? You know, they look energised. They look very technical, good. They've got a good shape about them. A very confident team. You wouldn't notice that they had a week off. You know, they're bang at the races right now, and the Battery, you know, are under a little bit of pressure on their own turf.
Anthony Pulis saying he wanted to keep them on the same schedule. Obviously, it was weather that forced them to cancel the match against Ottawa, but they still played, had the day off Sunday, and a full week of training ahead of this match here tonight. Jepson managed to find space around Van Schaik. Mueller away in the box. It's unorthodox out the back from Van Schaik, but he'll do just enough.
Yeah, and I think that's a little sign there, isn't it? You know, they're a little bit tentative, the Battery. You know, they're just trying to get rid of it. They haven't really got themselves into the game yet. They've not really had a good spell of possession. And I think that's what they need to do. They need to get their passing game going and then start forcing their shape onto this, as I said, very traditional 4-4-2 St. Louis team.
Like we mentioned, going to be a fantastic matchup. The Battery unbeaten at home, St. Louis unbeaten on the road so far this season. Have only lost one match. That was to Birmingham Legion 3-2. Coming off a great win 3-1 against Swope Park last outing. Candela switches flanks. Rittmeyer. Not too many options on, forced to track across the middle of the park. Will drop it out wide for Piggott. This could be a chance. Piggott into the box. And Rittmeyer tries to pick it up on the other side. Lays them into danger though.
One of the things about Nico Rittmeyer is he's a predominantly right-footed player. So when he does come inside, he you know, he's looking for those shots, and you know, just saw there he put a great pass outside. You know, where he may suffer a little bit, he's trying to get down the outside and get crosses in on his left foot. But as I said, that was a better start. That was a better little spell of possession for the home team. And as I said, you know, the Battery, you know, they've got a great home record. They've got a good set of players. And, you know, they didn't have the greatest start last week, I think it was. So now they're going to start to get into it. And as I said, now they need this little bit of possession, settle down, play into the game, and see if they can work their way through and enforce their game style onto the visitors.
Fan Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues around the world. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit www.selectsportsamerica.com. Rittmeyer, good ball out wide for Romario Piga. Maybe just a bit too much sauce on that one, but right idea, Derek.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I said that's what I was saying. He can come in and he can open it onto his stronger foot and switch play. I mean, we've already seen two very good switches, one from Piga, one from Rittmeyer. So that's obviously something they've worked on. And I think, you know, what we've got to do now is get Boschier into the game in terms of the Battery. He's got to start to sort of lead the line. He's up against two very experienced centre halves, and then, you know, Zico Lewis has now got to try and start working off him and see if he can get on the ball, because he's the danger man for the Battery, Zico Lewis. If he can get on the ball, he can create lots of little opportunities in and around the box.
Zico Lewis leading the Battery in goals with 3 on the season, 2 assists. The Bermudian international. We'll speak a bit about him at halftime, but doing so well for club and country so far this season. Kuzminski.
Beneath is now trying to find those little pockets of space that gives him the opportunity to sort of put his magic on the game, and that's what he tries to do. He's a roamer. He doesn't really stay in one spot, which is really good at times. At sometimes, you know, you need that discipline side to your game as well. So he's got to try and balance the both. And up to date, as I said, he's been probably the most effective player for the Battery this season.
Here's heads to safety to Van Schaik, the veteran. Tarbara Anunga laces one out wide to Rittmeyer.
This is better from the Battery, as I said. You know, they look a lot more composed now in the last 5 minutes than they did in the first couple of minutes of the game.
Marini and Zico Lewis, you can see there, just to your point, Derek, sneaking in between the centre-backs.
Yeah, as I said, he's a very intelligent soccer player. You know, he goes in, he knows where to make those little runs, he knows how to find little pockets, he knows when to play one touch and two touch. And as I said, you know, I will say, if there's people watching the game, they're the sort of players you want to watch just to see their football vision that he has.
Danlerson pumps along one out of the back, takes a touch off Van Schaik.
I'm not so sure the viewers are seeing at home, but Taylor Mueller's really, I mean, it's probably the most mobile I've seen him in any game right now. It's, you know, it's 2 versus 3, and he's really trying to, you know, marshal his 2 players around him, but he's doing a lot of work himself as well, probably more than he's done in many of the previous games. Here he is again.
There's a rookie next to him, Carl Nelson, who just plucked that one from the sky. Lewis Hilton, the Englishman, in the middle of the park, will be roaming with Gaia Bend. I think. Composed to Kavita.
It's good pressure from the Battery there. It's really good. You know, they're getting around the ball. They're making the centre halves play. And as I said, you know, then a little stray pass goes and they win possession back. So that's a great sign for Mike Anhausen and his team now. That it looks like now they've got rid of the little nerves from the start of the game, and now it's game on, isn't it, for both teams? You know, let's see now who can enforce their game style the quickest.
Of course, for the Battery, coming in off a match against Pittsburgh Riverhounds at home, they were trailing 2-0 in the 75th minute. Niku Daly made his way on off the bench for Mike Anhausen's side, earned a penalty and scored the second to equalise. A real fight to the finish in the last match.
I'm sure that was a worry for Mike Anhausen in this game, the way his team started. You know, I think you have to give credit to St. Louis, but you know, again, you know, sometimes teams get into that habit where they take a little bit of time to get going, and at this level you can't do that. You could be 2 goals down, as the Battery saw last week.
Kyle Gregg there. Does enough to keep the possession. Here's Matt Boehner, Ohio native. Back to Fink. Keep your eye on Sam Fink getting into the attack. Also has 3 goals on the season so far, all of which headers in the box.
For set pieces, he's the man that goes up. Open play, I'm sure he's a defensive player. Nothing gets past me.
Greg, ground ball into the box, takes the deflection from Nelson, worked out by the battery. Here's Anunga. Rittmeyer in acres of space. Capitalizes on the greenery in front of him to the top of the box. It's still Rittmeyer. Lays it off for Zico Lewis. Chip ball over. Looking for the feet of Arthur Boschua there, but swept up by Fenlerson.
Yeah, and there you see, Nico Rittmeyer, he doesn't really want to go on the outside. And I think he's a little bit predictable right now that when he runs down that line, he's always coming in on his right side. You know, I think I'd like to see him take a gamble, go on the outside, and have a go at Boehner, and on the other side if it's Reynolds, wherever it is. Defenders don't like getting beat on the outside.
Taylor Mueller thought he'd done enough there, but that's going to be a free kick for the visitors. Albert Deek with a Cameroonian in his 2nd season with St. Louis.
It's one of those situations where I think Fink will go up, won't he? And Coolsey, he's a big, powerful lad, and he's going to go up and make his presence felt up in the. I'm not sure that the battery there's got a 2-man wall. I think it's going to be a cross in the box, and I think Zico Lewis is probably going to have to get back into the box as well a little bit. There's numbers up in there, so it's going to be a dangerous situation.
Candela there, rightly so, just arguing. It went out right by the touchline. Lewis Hilton, on the other hand, has other ideas. I think he wants a picture-perfect spot to whip one in from.
I actually think this is a more dangerous angle. The further wide you are, the better angle you get on the cross.
Hilton and Jepson over the dead ball. Keep your eye on Sam Fink in the box. It's going to be Hilton. There's an awkward one into the box. Took an awkward bounce that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's what he wanted there. It went in. I think he missed it. You've got to beat the first defender in these situations, and he didn't. And as I said, it just bobbled up a bit for Anunga, and he went out for a corner. But I think this is still a dangerous situation. All the big lads are up from the free kick. So again, the battery's going to have to be very much on their toes here.
Kavita and Fink are in the box. Hilton with the delivery. It's a good one, straight through the back. St. Louis looking to recycle. A dangerous one towards the penalty spot, picked out by Van Schaik. Back and forth. Aerial duel is won there by Nelson.
And I think Boschua was going to be huge now in these set plays. The battery are not the biggest side right now. You've got Zico Lewis, Candela, Marini, even Rittmeyer's not the tallest player. So size-wise, I think St. Louis has the advantage. But the Taylor Muellers have got to go out there and compete. Boschua's going to have to come back and be vital in his own box now. So any set piece they give away is going to cause them problems.
You're absolutely right. Every member of St. Louis's backline 6 foot or above. Fenlerson ensures safety. Has 5 clean sheets in his 15 appearances last season for St. Louis. Already has 4 clean sheets in his 8 games played already up to date. Off to a flying start this season. Pigott takes his space. Numbers are in the attack for the battery.
I think there's a situation where he can go on the outside. He doesn't have to cut back inside. He is right-footed, and he's got good pace and he's got good quality. Pigott needs to really get at him.
20 minutes in the books here from MUSC Health Stadium in Charleston, South Carolina. Poppy Miller alongside Derek Broadley. Thank you for joining us for tonight's match, wherever you are. It's a dangerous one. Fenlerson caught off his line. Boschua was there with the pressure, but no damage done for the visitors.
It was a gamble by Fenlerson there, wasn't it? Because he came out, and if Boschua would have got a touch on that, I think he'd have been in no man's land.
Reynolds on the far side, drops one into the mix. The battery's starting to sit a bit higher now with the pressure.
Yeah, that's right. As I said, that's good play there by St. Louis. They broke the press, if you like, and bypassed it round. And as I said, you're always going to have numbers up if you've got a goalkeeper that can play out from the back, and they have. So as I said, they've got to pick and choose their moments. It's almost like trying to trap a team when you go. You go, you try and win it in groups, and if you do, then you try and recycle it as quickly as you can.
Jackson just losing his foot in there. A nice slick surface on natural grass down below us. Water just before kickoff. You've got to say pretty perfect, picture perfect conditions here tonight.
I think, as I said, the water of the pitch makes it really nice and slick for the players, as long as they've got the right footwear on, which sometimes I'm not sure they do with these new fancy soccer boots and that, but these bladed systems. But yeah, it's a little bit slick sometimes, but it really does lend itself to the viewers and to the players to have a real nice, good, quick, slick passing game, and I think both teams have benefited from it tonight from what we've seen so far.
Matt Boehner there on your screen. Straight in, finds its way to Dikwa. Marini's in the mix. Won by Anunga. Back to Carl Nelson, who plays a good ball out of the back for Piggott.
Another situation where he could just get it at his feet and start to attack. I think he'll do a lot better and he'll be a lot more effective for his team. And I'm sure Mike Anhauser wants more from the two wide players going forward.
Mike Anhauser, head coach of the Charleston Battery, celebrated his 25th anniversary with the club last season. This is going to be a brilliant turn from Rittmeyer there. He was pulled down by Boehner. Anthony Coolish just at the bottom of your screen. That's going to be a free kick for the Battery. And Matt Boehner finds himself in the books.
And that is a yellow card purely based on a player showing some great skill. He's just received the ball on one side, rolled it in the other. And as I said, Boehner there, he's got a yellow card purely because he's been beat with pure skill. So credit to Nico Rittmeyer, and it was the first time I think he's turned and tried to go outside. So hopefully he'll realise he's got a bit of success. Now if you're Nico Rittmeyer, you're really looking at. So here he goes. He just tries to roll him on the outside. So now that should be, a real incentive now for him to go forward and take him on, knowing he's already on a yellow card.
Zico Lewis puts one into the box. Dante Marini to ground from Kavita. The referee waving play on. Here comes St. Louis.
Big call there, or big no call, I should say. But Dante Marini's not the biggest. But to be fair to him, he fell very dramatically. Great pass there by Zico Lewis.
Bosher out wide to Piggott. Piggott with the delivery. Bosher is there. Fink heads away. And now the Battery on the front foot.
That was very good. Now that's what the Battery's all about. They won it in midfield, didn't they? They won it very quickly, transitioned it very quickly. Dante got the pass. Fantastic. I don't know if we'll get a chance to see that little flick by Zico Lewis there again, and a good cross. And that's the first corner of the game, I believe. And Zico Lewis has got great quality. He's got a wand of a left foot, can whip it in with pace. And as I said, let's see what we can come up with in this one.
Zico Lewis over it, like you mentioned. He's got the short option with Candela. Dangerous over the ball. Lays one to Romario Piggott. The strike is there. Couldn't quite get over it on that occasion, though.
He never really got under control, did he, Piggott there? It was you can see this is something they've worked on. And they got it into him, but his first touch just bobbled a little bit and he just couldn't get it down. He sort of snatched at the shot, but very creative. Here we go there. We're probably going to get a second chance to look at it. Here he is there. So he just bobbled up. He never quite got it down, never got his touch right, and couldn't get the shot off.
Rittmeyer and Boehner go up to the aerial duel. And shake all the way home to Joe Kosminski, the Colorado native, came through the Colorado Rapids youth system, UAB product, served as a backup goalkeeper to a Disnall Cooper last season before claiming his starting spot early on. Played over 2,100 minutes, 12 clean sheets in 24 appearances. And been pretty sound so far this season for the black and yellow. Van Schaik launches one into the attack. Dante Marini's on the run, but it'll just run away from him.
Hey fans, it's time for the Tropical Smoothie Cafe Smooth Fan Giveaway.
Some positive signs though. You can see that the Battery now, when they go a little bit longer and a bit more direct, they've got players that are willing to run from midfield or from just slightly behind Bosher, like Marini and Lewis. So, Zico Lewis and Marini are very similar in stature and height, and they're both left-footed. So it'll be interesting to see if they can find those little pockets as often as they can.
Cafe Superfoods for a Super U.
Jepson into Hilton. Deekwa gets a touch on it. Deekwa again. This is dangerous. Can Deekwa get the strike away? Ground ball in. And Kuzminski cool, calm and collected.
He's always gone away from goal there. He's gone onto his weaker foot, and you know he got a shot on target, which he'll have counted, but he didn't cause Joe Kuzminski any problems there. But good play from St. Louis, and they haven't really had any chances in the last 5 or 10 minutes, have they? So, you know, I'm sure Anthony Poulis will be starting to get concerned. His team started off really well, and they've allowed Battery to come back into the game.
From the Battery, the Bermudan international drops one out wide. Romario Pigott. Smart play over there by the Panamanian.
Not having Woodbine in the side tonight, you know, means they've got to do more traditional short throws than they used to.
Pigott into the box, right through to the back. Dante Marini's there. The overlapping run from Rittmeyer, but Dante will carry. Zico Lewis brings it down in the box. It's Arthur Boshui, gets the head on it, just wide of the target.
And that was an absolutely fantastic, again, another little clever ball by Zico Lewis, and great play by Dante Marini. And what he's trying to do there is that little flick over, look, and it just took a deflection. And you can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to head it into the top corner. Maybe they'd been better off letting it come down and trying to hook it in. But, you know, another positive sign for the Battery that they're clawing their way back into the game and now starting to get on top a little bit.
Arthur Boshui, an absolute workhorse up top. Covers just about every blade of grass in the attacking half. Fenlerson goes long again. Flicked on to Deekwa. Cicerone trying to find the loose ball. It just showed you a glimpse of what Zico Lewis is capable of. An awkward ball bounce, he almost brought it down, and a fantastic setup for Boshui.
Yeah, as I said, he sees things that other players just don't see, and you just hope that he's got players around him. And I'm sure that's why in training that, you know, these players see a lot of one of the things he can do. So anything's possible, and he's got it. And that's why he's so valuable to this Battery team right now.
Approaching 30 minutes in the books, scoreless here at MUSC Health Stadium. Two teams separated by just 2 points in the Eastern Conference. Battling it out here tonight. Here's Fink into the feet of Russell Cicerone. And here's a breakaway. Zico Lewis. Kavita is there. Rittmeyer picks up the second ball. Safety in numbers in the box from St. Louis. Rittmeyer away by Kavita. Higgett goes up for seconds. Candela. Vincenzo Candela in his second season with Mike Anhauser's side. Dante Marini trying to work his way into the box, denied just on the outside by Cicerone.
As he's grown in confidence, Dante, you can see now he's dropping little shoulders in there. That, you know, the more minutes he gets, you know, prior to his injury, he was a very inspirational little player, little workhorse, but he's got very good quality, and you know, with his low centre of gravity, he can roll people and turn people very well, and he can use it to his advantage. And you can just see it's just slowly coming back into his game, and this is his first full game back. So, you know, I'm sure he'll start to feel it at some point. But right now, he looks on top of his game, and that's great for Mike Anhausen for this Battery team to see.
Extremely agile player. 2 goals, 2 game winners, like we mentioned earlier. Dante Marini making his first start of the season here tonight.
Great throw by Kuzminski there, wasn't it?
Here's Rittmeyer picking up some pace down the flank. Boshui is in the mix. He'll go to Anunga. Dangerously led. Couldn't quite connect that pass.
And there's again Rittmeyer. He's got great pace. He drives in there. He calls his team problems. And sometimes you just come back. You just wish he would just cut back in and whip it into the box and cause problems. But sometimes I think he just takes, every now and again, just makes the wrong option, and he actually put Anunga there under pressure.
Van Schaik finds the feet of Zico Lewis. They get to safety with Nelson Candela. Jepson looks to go round the back. The pressure is on up top from Greg. And Mueller forced to clear his lines.
He was forced out. It was good pressure there, wasn't it? And you know, Taylor Mueller had no option but to put it forward, and you know, several of the battery players were in an offside position when it was there. This is good pressure. And that's good when you make the team really work hard to come out with the ball. That's always it makes it dominates the game. It really makes it hard. It makes it exciting for the fans when you're seeing strikers chasing down defenders and put them under pressure. And if you do nick it, then you've got a quick turnaround and attack, and you can counter-attack very quickly.
Battery keeping the pressure high. Fink. And Jepson dispossessed in the middle of the park. Hilton able to pick up the loose ball. Lewis Hilton just lost his footing there on the halfway line.
Both teams there were a bit guilty. It was too much pressure for both teams. No one could really work it out.
Well, brought down by Guy Bend. Here's Candela, and that's been an interesting battle between those so far tonight, Derek.
Yeah, you know, Candela's one of the most competitive kids in the battery team, isn't he? You know, he works hard, he goes in, he's not frightened of a challenge. You can sit here, look, he'll put his head in, he'll hustle and bustle, and as I said, you know, everyone who plays against him know they've been in a game of soccer. He's a moaner, you know, he moans and groans and chats to the referees all the time, but he's a real competitor. And as I said, you know, him and Anunga complement each other very well in that midfield.
Got a brilliant engine on him as well as Tarboro and Anunga. Ball stays in bounds, Pigott with the pressure. Up to the top, Greg drops back to service Dikwa, and what a challenge that is from the captain Taylor Mueller at the back.
Not only has he won the tackle now, he's starting to be the leader. He's telling Candela, you've got to get in here. He's telling Pigott, you've got to get in there. And as I said, the last two games, you know, when Taylor Mueller's actually played with some players now that are not used to playing in those positions, who haven't played there for a while, and as I said earlier, his leadership qualities is fantastic.
Sean Reynolds to get us back underway. It's a wealth of experience, a 28-year-old defender. He's played overseas in Iceland and also in his native Florida. Jepson. It's a good touch in, a bend. Around the back for St. Louis. Kavita. And now the visitors just enjoying a spell of possession. Here comes the through ball. It's a good one into the attack. Could this be a chance at the top of the box? Dikwa! And denied by Jared Van Schaik. Veteran play from the defender.
That all came from that super pass, wasn't it, by Kavita through. And as I said, it was, you know, the battle were all at 6s and 7s there, weren't they? They were struggling, and as I said, Jared Van Schaik just managed to get his body in front. More positive signs for Anthony Pulis' team now. They've sort of, you know, it's almost been a game of three periods, isn't it?
Samuel Kavita, a native of the Congo, spent 2018 with St. Louis. Prior to that was playing in Puerto Rico. Also had a spell on the West Coast playing for Real Monarchs. Like we mentioned, started every game so far this season alongside Fink. It's a dangerous deflection into the box, and Fenlerson scoops it up at the far post.
You can see Fink's there's furious at his goalkeeper there, isn't he? He's left it, you know. I'm not so sure central defenders should leave anything when it's in the 6-yard box. He obviously thought he got a call, and the goalkeeper never come out and really cleared it, so he was furious there. And, you know, again, that was a real misunderstanding and could have been led to a goal or certainly a very good opportunity for the battery.
St. Louis only conceded 6 goals so far in the season, 3 of which came from just one game. And defensively sound with the mainstay at the back. Marini leaves it for Lewis. It falls for Marini. Marini with the strike. Couldn't quite find the target.
Again, that's all the work by Zico Lewis, isn't he? He's run it down, and them two are linking up really well. That's a great little dig through, and it doesn't fall on his stronger foot, does it? He's hit it across him a little bit. But, you know, obviously it's took a deflection or a save there. So, yeah, I think Dante really would have liked that on his left foot, so he could have just reeled it in. But, again, positive signs, another corner.
Marini with a phenomenal chance. Here's Vincenzo Candela. Ready to whip an in-swinger in. Keep your eye on the height in the box. Taylor Mueller's there, goes to Piggott, drops one into the mix and away by Dikwa. A big ball over Boschua is there, but Fenlerson comes out on top.
Fenlerson there, he's not the tallest, is he? But he has to come through a big crowd, but it's good safe hands there. You can see what Van Schaik's thinking. Let's throw it in there. And as I said, I think you can just see the Battery don't really fancy throwing just corners into the box. You know, the size is definitely a disadvantage for them. So they're trying to be very creative on all these corner kicks, trying to work shots and short crosses and stuff. So they've obviously worked on it at practice, and you can see it coming through clearly in the game.
Both players down there believing it was their ball. The referee gives it in favour of the home side. She's going to bring him back there.
That's frustrating for players, and the referee makes his decision, they make a quick one, and then he calls it back, and they lose all the advantage that they got from quick thinking.
Anthony Pulis just having a quick word with Aldi Jepson down there. Here's Piggott. Battery again trying to attack down the flanks. He'll come inside this time. A brilliant ball across the park. Rittmeyer's there for Lewis. Good switch to Marini. Marini at the top of the box. Still Marini. This time he can get the strike away. And Fenlerson looked like he almost got a tap over, but that'll be a goal kick. What another opportunity for Dante Marini that was.
Yeah, and again, he's come into the game now, isn't he, Marini? It's a great touch. He gets a little bit fortunate here. There's two slips and it comes in, but when it's on that left foot, that's a great strike, and it's not too far over the bar. I think the referee got that one right. You can see that it was just rising, and Fenlerson certainly didn't get a touch on that. But again, another promising sign, and that's the advantage of a left footer coming in, cutting in onto his stronger foot and getting shots in. And it's been a feature of the first half of the Battery, you know, on both flanks, people coming in.
Dante Marini in his 6th season with the Battery, like we mentioned, missed last season and a big chunk of the 2017 season with an injury. But really coming back in top form. To Kosminski. Hilton puts his team back on the attack. Here's Jepson. And well recovered by Brian Anunga.
That was a little bit of a crazy couple of minutes there for Nelson, wasn't he? He's had 2 missed kicks. He's gone with his right foot. He's spun off. He just needs to set himself down and play. And I think sometimes he tries to play too quickly and makes the wrong decisions or rushes things and ends up making little silly mistakes. And I'm sure Mueller will be, you know, talking to him for the rest of this half, telling him just to calm down and play.
5 minutes left of regulation here in Charleston, South Carolina. St. Louis again opting to work it out the back. Boehner couldn't connect that time. Anunga back to the captain Mueller. And you can see there Boschua just leaving something to come in over the top. He'll take the throw.
I think if you're a neutral, this is a really good game, isn't it? It's end to end. It's both teams really sort of going for it. You know, no one's playing defensively here right now. It's very open. There's been some real good half chances, a couple of near misses, and as I said, if you're a neutral watching this game, you're seeing a very, very good soccer game. 2 good teams, 2 organised teams, 2 completely different styles. You've got 4-4-2 versus like a 3-4-3. And, you know, both teams going forward are having good success. So it's a very, very open game, very enjoyable game.
0-0, but like you said, both teams have had a number of chances. Boschua heads it down for Marini. Marini assessing his options. A good ball from Lewis to Piggott. Piggott takes the strike, and nothing to come of it on that occasion.
And again, if we see that again, Lewis is very bright again. He gets the ball, you know. I think we can see the run of Piggott. You know, Dante really didn't, and as soon as it came to Lewis, he just a little one-touch pass out. His vision in and around the box, you know, if you're a young player out there now, if you just come along to one of these Battery games and just watch Zico Lewis, how he's creative and how he sees little pockets and little passes, it's very good to watch, and we get the best view in the house, not we sitting up here. So it's real fun to watch.
Zico Lewis spent last season playing in Iceland. Prior to that was with the Red Bulls. Here comes Candela. Boshua's in the box, away by Kavita. Dikwa giving his team a chance to get up into the attack. Hilton nicely sprayed around the middle by the visitors. Battery now starting to bring the pressure. Rittmeyer takes a touch and another sliding challenge from Gaia Bend. And another free kick earned by Rittmeyer.
And again, that's the second time. Again, he beats him. The first one he beat with pure skill. This one he's built with sheer pace. Look, he's just too quick. You can see his acceleration is fantastic. And it's great seeing Nico Rittmeyer having that positive attitude to go at players, even though sometimes it's on his weaker foot. But he adds so much to this Battery team when he actually goes at players. And I'm sure, you know, Mike Anhaz, I know because I talked to him, he wants him to do it more and more and more.
Like you said, another case of a short ball then. Tried to work in by the Battery, avoiding the outnumbered height advantage in the box. Lewis for Van Schaik. Rittmeyer leads a good ball in, looking for the ball in towards the box. And Kavita to safety once again. Van Schaik comes through, nice defending from the veteran. Piggott, he's going to take the try. Testing Fenlerson.
Again, it's another shot from distance. So if you look at the Battery this half, they've had some great chances, but they've all been on the edge of the box. You can see clearly they don't fancy just lumping balls into that 18-yard box and trying to compete aerially. So what they're doing is they're trying to work around the box, and you know, if they're going to get a goal tonight, it's going to be either a rebound from a long shot or a really good shot from in and around the box, or from the 18-yard box, from what we've seen so far tonight.
And you've got to say, Romario Piggott fancying his chances from the top of the box.
I think everyone's like, you know, everyone, I mean, they've all got good technique, these players, and they're happy to take a shot from 18, 20 yards, especially on this slick surface.
I ain't gonna lie, I wish I had that type of football.
A bend out wide to Reynolds. It's a good ball into the attack. Here's Cicerone. To Dikwa. We haven't had to call Cicerone's name too much in the late going.
First 10 minutes, you know, you're thinking, you know, we've called it right. You know, he was the superstar, he was the player to watch, but he sort of drifted out the game after the first 10 minutes. You know, he's gone very quiet. And for a player, you know, he'll come into the game, I'm sure, at some point. But right now, as I said, you know, Fink and the back players have probably had more of the ball right now, which is probably worrying for Tony Pulis.
And like you said, Cicerone, a hard one to mark, just likes to roam around. Especially getting into the attack as well. Boehner, Boshua takes it off his foot. Sam Fink is there for backup. And goes to safety with Fenlerson.
What Boshua does, he doesn't give any defender any time, does he? He just comes out from anywhere. And it's been such a great half. We've got to half time without a trainer coming on, and there we go.
There we have it. The first 45 is in the books from MUSC Health Stadium. Not even a minute of added time. Scoreless at the half. We'll stay with us. We'll take a look at the Charleston Battery's next upcoming matches, our player spotlight. And when we return, we'll take a look at stats and highlights. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
I gotta do it again. I'm sorry, brothers. Hold on a second, trying to get out everybody's way. Yeah, I'm being told y'all gonna have to do it again.
officially 2 months into the USL Championship season, and things are looking pretty tight at the top of the Eastern Conference, with only 6 points separating 1st through 7th place. Let's take a look at the 3 main headlines in this week's Around the League, presented by Home Telecom. Nick Daly was the super sub for the Charleston Battery when the team was trailing 2-0 in the 75th minute. Daly earned a penalty for his side, and Zico Lewis was able to capitalise on the opportunity with his 3rd goal of the season. Daly then found the equaliser for the home side in the 80th minute, earning the Battery a point from home. They'll remain at home this Saturday to take on the returners to the Eastern Conference, St. Louis, for the first time in 2 years. The Tampa Bay Rowdies remain undefeated so far this season after taking a 1-0 win from the Music City against Nashville SC on Wednesday night. Despite several chances for either side, Leo Fernandez whipped a fantastic ball in towards the back post, and Juan Tejada was able to beat Matt Pickens and find the back of the net. Neil Collins' side will take on top of the table New York Rebels 2 this Saturday at Al Lang Stadium. Charleston Battery midfielder Zico Lewis has been nominated for USL Goal of the Month after a curling, screaming finish into the top left-hand corner against Charlotte Independence. Zico has been on top form for both club and country, leading the Battery in goals and scoring and registering an assist for Bermuda to help them qualify for the Gold Cup for the first time in history. Well, that just about wraps things up heading into week 10 for the Charleston Battery. I'm Poppy Miller.
Man, I'm going to tell you, I think it's freaking awesome. For lack of a better word, it's awesome.
We would like to formally welcome you to League One for 2020.
We are proud to be the stewards and caretakers of the world's game and the Big O for all the fans. And it starts today, right now.
We, together, collaboratively, can make such a huge positive impact on the community. Together.
You know, you close most deals and you sit at your desk or maybe have a closing dinner. I get to celebrate with 200 people with cheers, so it's awesome.
Breaking in, Kasim!
Oh, what a save by Matt Pickens!
Got a run from distance, and it's a goal! Goes with the left and in.
And what a save for Van Ogle!
Here's a chance for Kasim, who puts it in!
Welcome, Battery fans. I just want to wish all the moms a very happy Mother's Day. It's a special day, and you deserve to have your own day. And to my mom, I miss you, and I wish you a very happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
And especially my mom. Thanks for everything.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Hope you enjoy your day. I love you.
That was good. Good job, dude.
Happy Mother's Day to my mom and my sisters back in Washington State. Love you.
Mom, happy Mother's Day. I miss you and love you very much.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you. You are the best.
Happy Mother's Day, Ma. I love you. Thank you for everything you've done for me. Te quiero mucho. Un beso.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I so love you. I love you endless.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Thanks for all your love and support throughout the years. Enjoy your day.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Thank you for always being there for me. I love you.
And especially to my mom, love you so much. Thanks for everything.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I'm grateful for everything you do, and I love you more than you'll ever know.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Special shout out to my mother for bringing me into this world. You threatened many times to take me out of it, but I'm glad you kept me in it. So happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, and especially to my mom.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms that couldn't be here. You're in our minds, and we're thinking about you. Thank you.
Mwah.
Mwah.
I almost cried.
Welcome back to MUSC Health Stadium. It's halftime here between the Charleston Battery and St. Louis. But while we have a second, let's turn our attention to the next upcoming match for the Charleston Battery. They'll play in the second round of the US Open Cup against Greenville on Wednesday night. It's that time of the year again, Derek.
Yeah, this tournament is a real good one, doesn't it? It pits the little ones, the little teams against the big teams, and it gives everyone a chance to see if they can see where they stand in the pecking order.
And it's supposed to be a fantastic crowd. We're hearing it potentially could be a sellout, but if you can't make the road trip to the stadium, then you can watch the game on ESPN Plus. Every single match at the Open Cup televised this year. Well, then the Battery will just return to Charleston for a day before they head to Lucas Oil Stadium to take on Indy 11.
Yeah, we spoke about this one last week. This should be a classic if it's anything like it was last season. I'm sure both teams will be up for revenge, and everyone will be looking forward to a good one.
A big match there. Well, let's turn our attention to the player spotlight of this week. He's off to a flying start, firing on all cylinders so far this season for club and country.
Yeah, Zico Lewis, fantastic start to the season. A young man who scores goals, and you know he's had a great couple of months with his national team and then re-established himself in the USL League.
And you actually had the chance to coach him during your time in Bermuda.
Yeah, I did, yeah. When he was 14 years of age, he was a similar type of player. I mean, he was very tricky, left-footed, used to cut in, dribbled a lot, loved to take players on, take risks. And I think he's kept that part of his game, and he's relishing it now for the Battery.
And what a role he's played in Bermuda's first qualification for the CONCACAF Gold Cup. A fantastic achievement. But there you can see his stats for the Battery as well. They're quite impressive.
Yep, no, he's come in, as I said, he wanted to re-establish his career here in the US, and you know his Bermuda exploits have been fantastic. You know, again, I think he scored several goals in the qualification period. He's now seen as a senior player in that team, and there's a lot of other young players that came through the same system as him, and the whole nation now is getting behind them, and I'm sure they're really looking forward to this test.
And what a summer it will be for him. But of course, for the Charleston Battery, they'll miss him when he is away with the national side. You can see there 7 games played, 3 goals, 2 assists. He'll be looking to add to that though throughout the season.
Yeah, speaking to him the other day, you know, he was concerned a little bit because, you know, his season is going so well for his club. He didn't really want to do too much to hamper that, but he obviously wants to go to his nation's event first.
They're going to be a fantastic time for Zico Lewis. We're all behind him here from the Battery. Well, we're going to take a quick break now, but when we come back, we'll have second half action from MUSC Health Stadium. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a moment.
Welcome back to MUSC Health Stadium. It's half-time here between the Charleston Battery and St. Louis. Well, Derek, scoreless at the half, but you've got to say both teams have had chances. Let's take a look at the first half highlights. Yeah, it's been an absolutely fantastic first half. Here's the first one there. It was Hilton that takes his free kick. I think a left footer probably should have took it, but it was very comfortable for Joe Kuzminski. Here, Tekitua gets a ball across, and a bend really should have done better there. It was a great chance. Then the Battery played their way back in. This was the first for two for Pigott. Bobbled up a little bit slightly, and this is where the Battery really did get on top. This was a clever little play with the header now here from Boshua, and he could, he just couldn't find a target. This is the Marini chance where he cuts in, hits a great chance. Was a bit fortunate up with it, and then it finished off with another Pigott effort from about 25 yards. So for a neutral, you've there, as a highlight reel, there's 6-7 really good chances that could have led to goals. And as I said, 0-0 doesn't really give the first half justice for what we saw. You're absolutely right. Several shots as well, like you could see there, Romario Pigott outside the box. And of course, the danger for St. Louis that we mentioned, they've got some height compared to the Battery, and Sam Fink getting up into the attack as well. You can see both teams there just warming up down below. We are about ready to go from MUSC Health Stadium. Derek, your first half thoughts? No, I think, listen, it was an exciting half. I think if you're both coaches, I think if you're Anthony Pulis, you'd be really pleased with the start, but the way the Battery clawed their way back in. I'm sure there were some worrying signs for him, and I think if you're Mike Anhauser, again, you're worrying about the start that your team had, especially that it's the second week going that you've done that at home, but you'd be really pleased how they worked their way back into it. Second half now, I think it's all to play for. As I said, for me as a soccer person, it's two contrasting styles. It's a traditional 4-4-2 versus a sort of 3-4-3, and it's very, very good that both teams are getting success in their own formations. And you mentioned the Battery good at coming back. Last match, they were trailing 2-0 to the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in the 75th minute and came back and tied the game. And quick note to mention, 10 of the Battery's 13 goals have come in the second half, most of which have come from inside the box, which will be interesting tonight, as we've seen all set-piece opportunities opted to be worked in rather than whipped in, with the lack of height advantage for the black and yellow. So, no, I think that was very apparent in the first half. It shows the creativity on this Battery team. And as I said, I'm sure that, Anthony Pulis would have told his team that, at set pieces, they've got to be totally switched on for anything that can come in. And certainly that I'm sure that the goalkeeper and the captain, Fink, will be really, really focused on that for this second half. Okay, Lewis in the middle of the park there, away by Reynolds. Van Schaik. Just finally on that first half, what really wasn't apparent was how well the wide players done. Nico Rittmeyer did, particularly for the Battery. Here's Cicerone battling with Nelson, lays one back to a bend. Reynolds now. The Englishman Lewis Hilton patrolling the middle with Guy Bend. Just breaks down from the pressure from the Battery. Here's Carl Nelson. In his first season with the Battery, makes his third start of the year tonight. And he's one that will grow into this team and into this game, isn't he? Because he's going to have to. He's been he's got in probably a little bit earlier than he thought due to injury. But he's really, really going to have to work hard now to stay in this team once everyone gets fit again and play his way in. He's got to grow in confidence, understand his role as a third defender in a three, and hopefully he can do that. You're absolutely right. O'Brien, Woodbine, Leland, Archer out on injury tonight. Jay Bolt's another one. Thin numbers in the defensive lineup. And when we asked Mike Anhauser what defensive changes he's expecting to have to make, he said he's lucky to have versatile players like Van Schaik that can drop in. A good ball into the box, falls all the way through. Yeah, and Van Schaik's had a good couple of weeks. He got his 2 goals the other week. He's really enjoyed playing with a little bit more freedom. Today he hasn't got that freedom playing as an out-and-out defender, and I'm sure that frustrates him as he gets on in his years. He likes to get forward. He's not one of these players that's going to continually overlap, but having these strict defensive duties is something that he's got to remain disciplined for and do it for the good of the team rather than for the good of his own career. Another veteran alongside the veteran, that is Taylor Mueller in his 7th season with the Charleston Battery. And as I said, I think he's vital to this team right now, with all the changes being made at the back. He's the one constant all the way through, and he is a true leader. He leads by example, and he leads physically and vocally.
And if he continues to do that, that's great signs for the coach.
Approaching his 200th USL appearance for the Charleston Battery. We could expect in the next couple of months. Joshua couldn't win the aerial against Sam Fink. And Zico Lewis and Fink both to ground. The referee gives that in favour of the visitors.
And I think the referee's actually done great refereeing there. Although that looked a bad challenge, and it was, I think it was because Zico Lewis slipped rather than he actually went in with malice. And, he's doing the right thing. He's going to say sorry. That's a good professional that he is. He didn't mean any harm there. I think he slipped. Fink's, look at the size difference there. It's like David and Goliath. And Zico Lewis goes up and says sorry. Look, here we go there. I think you can see he just lost his foot in there and just caught him.
Sam Fink, 6'3" in the back line. We mentioned in the first half, every member of the back line over 6 foot. Hilton back to the captain. Welcome to all those joining us from St. Louis, especially the watch parties at Llewellyn's Pub and Hat Tricks. Cicerone trying to work it in to the box. Hilton for Dequa.
That was a clever little ball there, wasn't it? That was a real clever little ball into Cicerone there. So, again, he had a real exciting first 10 minutes, Cicerone, and then he sort of drifted out the game, and he's sort of playing in little spells. He's a very dangerous player, as we said earlier, but he probably feels he can give a lot more this second half, and certainly one the Battery can't switch off from.
Joe Kuzminski with the boot out of the back. Let's have another look at that. I thought we were going to see a replay there. Here's Cicerone, and like we mentioned, very, very slick surface. Boshua switches flanks. Rittmeyer's coming running in at the far side.
It's a hard technique to get a ball that's coming with that pace over that distance, and you slightly get ahead of yourself. And yeah, that came about because, again, you mentioned a little slick surface. The players have got to make sure they've got the right foot in. And as they get tighter, that's when your footing goes a little bit. And as I said, them little mistakes can be very costly at times. And, I wouldn't like to see the game decided on one of those for sure. But players have to make sure that they wear the right footwear.
Like you mentioned, been a great game so far. Both teams with some brilliant chances. Here's Cicerone putting the pressure on Kuzminski, who pops one out to Kelso. Kyle Nelson couldn't connect his pass though. Hilton on the run now. Piggott with the pressure, and the referee bringing it back for the first one.
And that little passage of play for the Battery shows two players at both ends of the spectrum. Coach Joe Kuzminski's under a lot of pressure. He just does a nice little technical pass up and over the top. We'll look at this free kick again there. I think it's just, again, Mario Piggott being overzealous there. I think he's going to get a yellow card. I'm not sure it warrants a yellow card, but yeah, but and then Nelson, who gets the ball and just gives a silly little sloppy pass away. So he's got to just make sure that he stays focused, Nelson, and try and limit those mistakes, especially in these things, because now this is from this distance, this is an opportunity now for St. Louis.
And again, Hilton and Jepson, this time they'll work it between them. Hilton eventually with the delivery, and the referee going to have them bring it back to wait for his whistle. Well, Lewis Hilton had 6 assists on the season last year. Already has 2 on the year so far. Maestro over the dead ball. Here he is again, Hilton straight into the box this time, looking for the height at the back post. Mueller's there, pumped up in the air, and that'll be out for a corner.
So it's nice to see that both teams, although they do have a height advantage, St. Louis, they still try and play them. When the ball's not, they don't just lump balls into the ball willy-nilly. What they do is they try and work it in there and try and get better angles and better deliveries, which is great to see.
Like you said, St. Louis do have some height on their side. Hilton tracks across to the far side. He'll whip an out swinger in. Low, but away at the near post by Anunga, cleared to safety by Van Schaik.
Yeah, that's a great delivery. If you can whip one in like that from that side, normally, as you said, you look in, it's going to be an outswing. He just drilled that in dead straight and flat, and any touch on that towards goal is going to be a goal. Great technique.
Matt Boehner, the outside back, joins in the attack to get us back underway. Combines with Dequa. Boehner again this time. Limited options. A sea of black and yellow around him. Finds the feet of Jepson. Lewis maintain the possession all the way through for Reynolds. And well read by Piggott, who's saying it took a deflection, but the referee said otherwise.
He needs to get back in quickly instead of arguing with the ref. Get back into your shape and let's regroup and play.
Boshua putting Kavita under a bit of pressure. Fenlerson high up off his line to deliver one to the feet of Reynolds. Handshake for Rittmeyer. And like you said, Rittmeyer looks dangerous when he attacks people down the flank, but we're seeing him cut in and drop one back.
Here he goes again. Let's see what he's got now. This is what, I love to see him running. I love to see positive play by him when he gets into those areas.
Lewis at the top of the box. It's a fantastic strike and an equally as good save from Fenlerson at the back.
Yeah, and if we look at that again, I mean, it took a real awkward bounce, but it shows how good a technician he is, Zico Lewis, that he actually kept his eye on the ball. Here we go, look, flies up in there, takes an awkward bounce. That's a great strike, and that's going in the top corner. That's a great save, to be fair.
Zico Lewis is nominated for USL Goal of the Month this month after his fantastic strike from outside the box against Charlotte Independence. Very similar to that strike that we've just seen there.
As I said, he's got a great left foot, and he knows how to strike, and he's very accurate and does a lot of practice doing that. I think that's what a lot of young players don't realise, how much practice Zico Lewis does on his shooting.
Battery with a bit of a spring in their step in the past couple of minutes.
I was too busy watching the ball there. I think it was a late challenge from, it looks like Candela. He's in there, but
Vincenzo Candela is in the books for the remainder of this match. So we can get another look at that.
Yellow card issued to Charleston.
I think there's a situation where Candela, because he hangs around referees and he hangs around either to give his apology or to moan or complain, he then gets caught up in it. I think if he just walked away, I mean, we certainly didn't see that free kick. I'm sure the cameras might catch it, but no one else saw it except him, and he hangs around and then draws attention to himself, and by arguing, I'm sure here we go, let's have a look here, let's see what it was. It's a pass in. Yeah, it's just a clash. I don't think it's a deliberate foul. I'm not sure it's a yellow card.
Nelson out of the air against Greg. Mueller this time, it takes an awkward bounce. Cicerone beats Mueller, whips one into the box and away by Candela this time. And Mueller composed out of the back.
And there he had to be in the right spot, Candela, so that's great play.
Marini, the pressure is on. He finds the feet of Piggott. Boshua is there as well to retrieve. Kavita with the step this time. Takes an awkward bounce off the feet of Arthur Boshua. That's unlucky there.
Yeah, no, you could see what he was trying to do. He was waiting for some support. He didn't realise it wasn't there. He took the player on and just caught him on the way out.
Reynolds looking for Deekwa, well won by Anunga. Goes away to the stands. Fans, who's up, who's down, where does your club sit? Find out every Monday in the official USL Championship Power Rankings, only on USLChampionship.com. Sean Reynolds spent 2 seasons with Louisville City before his time with St. Louis, 64 games for them. Also played for Orlando City under 23s before heading overseas to Iceland to play. Several of these players out here tonight with experience overseas.
I think as the league's grown now, that will happen less and less now because they'll get opportunities to play in this country. And as I said, I think, Iceland, Finland were places that a lot of American players went.
Here's Deekwa, leads Cicerone into the box. There's too much pace on the pass, but Cicerone does enough. Can't get through 2 Battery players though, and here comes Anunga. He looked like he almost took one to the face. And that's going to be a free kick for the visitors. What did you think of that, Derek?
I actually don't think it was a free kick. I think this is a free kick. I think, and then Anunga, the competitor that he is, and you can see clearly there he wins the ball. So I think he's been punished there. And again, sometimes that happens though, doesn't it? You don't get something. Referees think it's retaliation. It actually was. It was a really good challenge. And as I said, I think he should have got a free kick. And that's what riles up the crowd. You can hear now, all the people that were very close, that they saw what we saw. And referees see it, when he see it at, field action or field level, and the speed in which it's played, it's very difficult. But this is another very, very serious situation here.
Here's Hilton. It's a good ball in, and Kuzminski makes sure that one goes to safety over the top of the bar.
And that was one of them ones where Kuzminski, if he'd just misjudged it a little bit, you can see he wants to come and get it, and it just goes over his head slightly, and then he's backtracking, but well judged.
Back to your point about Tarbran Inunga, led the battery in tackles and interceptions last season. Like we mentioned, the 2018 MVP of the team, an endless worker, and here he is now on the ball, combining with Piggott into Lewis. What a dummy! Joshua couldn't quite read it, and Jepson for Dequa now.
I think sometimes that's where Lewis is probably too bright for some players. It was a great step over, wasn't it? And, he just let that ball run in, and Joshua just wasn't on the same page as him. But that's what he brings. He's got that real creative aspect to his game. And he's going to get in here.
Some brilliant speed. Zico Lewis, here he is. He's got the fans behind him, toying with it outside the box. Piggott with the overlapping run, and he can't get through. Kavita at the back.
And even there, it was a great run by Piggott. You can see what he wanted to do. He just wanted to, like, see if he could just check it through and go. But again, going back to his point, he sees things that other players don't see, and you're just hoping that other players do, pick up on what he does. And as I said, sometimes you can be too far ahead of the game.
Lewis started all but one game that he missed when he was on international duty with the Bermudan side, like we mentioned at half-time. A real fiery player. Here's Mueller battling with Dequa. Van Schaik comes across and up and away from the outside back.
Again, the work that Mueller does there, he lost the header, he gets back in, he gets goal side, he really is an all-action defender, isn't he? He does, he does everything he does 100%.
Reynolds for Dequa. Carl Nelson with the press, but he can get the cross into the box. The head is there and couldn't quite get over it.
I think there, Jared Van Schaik's done, he realised he couldn't win the header, and what he done is what good defenders do is if he can't win it, he just makes it very, very difficult for the opponent to do that. So, it was, I think it was Greg, who's, is a bigger player, and Van Schaik just used his body there brilliantly just to stop him having that header.
60 minutes in the books here from MUSC Health Stadium. No changes as of yet, but there is movement from both benches. It looks like Dakers is actually putting on his jersey down below. So we will await that substitution. Like we mentioned, a difficult schedule for St. Louis with 3 road trips in 7 days. Of course, Open Cup begins now for the USL Championship this Wednesday. The Battery will travel to Greenville. What a brilliant local rivalry that is budding up to be.
Yeah, that's the great thing with the expansion of the league, isn't it? With all these new teams coming in at different levels, the big ones playing the little ones, the new ones playing the old ones. And as I said, I think that's going to, it's really going to make this the game of soccer here more accessible to more players. It's going to develop more rivalries, which is going to really bring a bigger interest into the game.
Then this is going to bring up a moment for us to see that substitution. Kadeem Dakers is making his way in, and out comes Jepson. A like-for-like substitution. And of course, Dakers in his second season with St. Louis makes his 8th appearance tonight. Started 5 of those. He actually led St. Louis in pre-season with 3 goals in the back of the net.
Jepson looks a good young player, doesn't he? You can see he's got good technique. He sees the game very, very well. And, I think he'll be very pleased with his performance. No player likes going off, but he's had a good contribution to this game.
Fantastic shift put in by the 24-year-old Wisconsin native, Roddy Jepson, who makes his way off for Dakers. Here's Dante Marini. Joshua is in the box, but not many numbers surround him. He almost forced his way in, though. St. Louis able to recover. Dequa off to the races. That looks like it's going to stay in, and Kyle Nelson comes steaming in, Derek. And I think that's Kyle Nelson, another one to add into the book. Shown mustard
in the 63rd minute.
That's a poor challenge there. There's no need to make that challenge. He's done well. His recovery's got him in the corner. Now, you know, you see what he's trying to do. He's trying to go in and win the tackle, but yeah, I mean, now that makes him puts him on a tightrope in a position where Mike Anhauser doesn't really want to make substitutions.
Well, here we are going to see a substitution from Mike Anhauser. Out comes Dante Marini, and in comes the super sub from last match, Niku Daly, the 18-year-old Jamaican youth international. Like we mentioned, earned the penalty for Zico Lewis to finish, and notched himself the second to equalise against the Riverhounds. And Derek, I think you described him best, just raw talent, raw speed, and loves to run at the back line.
Yeah, the boy's got a lot of real good qualities, and he's unpredictable, and his age makes him even more unpredictable, but you know, he's exciting for sure.
One into the box. Daly gets his first touch on the ball. Already creates something with Lewis. Numbers rolling back into the back line for the visitors. Daly, the fans really getting behind him. Can he get the strike away? He'll go to pick it at the top of the box, lays it off for Lewis. This is dangerous, but nothing to come of it at the end.
No, and there you go. So straight away he comes in. You know, what's his qualities? He's got pace. He's very good technically. You know, there's a good little pass play. Then we'll look at the Lewis shot again. He'll want to have that one back. But Daly comes in. You know, he's got great determination. He really doesn't have any defensive responsibilities at all in his game right now. He'll develop that as he gets older. But what he will do is he'll run willingly, he'll run freely, and he'll create chances. And as I said, having someone like Zico Lewis around him, I'm sure will only add to his game, because Zico sees things very quickly, and he can certainly react off of those things probably more than most players. So that, I think it's a great substitution. And I thought, you know, Dante Marini put in a great shift, and he's got to play his back way into 90 minutes. He's been coming on as a sub. You know, he'll be very pleased with his performance. Couple of good chances in the first half, some good link-up play. But this is a really good substitution that will, I'm sure, cause St. Louis a few problems.
You're absolutely right. With Ian Svanterson out on injury, Mike Anhauser doing a fantastic job of really showing us just how versatile these players are. Hugh Daly earning his chance and absolutely taking it. Scored 21 goals for Clarendon College of the Jamaican National Premier League before joining the Battery.
And those islands now really do produce some good players. You know, I was lucky to see it firsthand when I was with Bermuda, and you know, there's some great talent in the Caribbean. You know, there used to be a situation where people thought they were a little bit laid back. They didn't, but now they come to America, they get into these leagues, and they see their work rate has to, you know, increase dramatically. They do it, and now, you know, and then you've got players like Daly, Zico Lewis, O'Brien, Woodbine. You know, so now I'm sure that, you know, a lot of clubs will go to these areas now looking for these players.
And it's come full circle. I know we touched on it on half-time. You actually coached Zico Lewis back in Bermuda for a spell of time. You said he was a similar player to what he is now. Yeah,
no, he was always creative. You know, he's grown up in his personality and stuff, but technically, tactically, he hasn't changed. He was very creative back then. What he's done is become more consistent, and he's become more mature. And I think, you know, the Battery are getting a really good young, exciting player.
Fancy footwork from Anunga. Well read at the back, though, by Sean Reynolds. Cicerone. Back to a bend. Dequa now. Takes one touch, takes another. Kyle Nelson denies. Here he is, Zico Lewis is looking for Daly. He'll stop at Boshua. And well held up by Arthur Boshua, who drops one in to the feet of Romario Pigott.
Again, I think Nungade's come off. I actually don't think that was a free kick again. I think the referee's, he's got to be careful because he's on a yellow card. And I think everyone knows it. You know, I don't think it was it. But again, it was just a missed opportunity. You know, the Battery had, I think it was Nico Lewis out there on the right side. And you can see what Candela's trying to do. Again, you can see there, he clearly takes the ball. So, you know, I don't want to sit here and criticise referees to see it at that field level and at game speed is always difficult. But sometimes these players, as I said, they just know how to draw a foul here and there.
Mike Anhauser agreed with you down there. The lowers. Joe Kosminski all the way to the back, who you've got to say hasn't had too much to do in this late going.
Neither goalkeepers had to really make an outstanding save. They've made some what I'd call routine saves. And as I said, the game has been very exciting without them having to really do too much. There's been a lot of near misses, a lot of good shots, a lot of headers that have been in and around the box, but no real saves. But that doesn't mean to say that it takes it away from what has been a really, really good attacking game from both teams.
Muir out of the back, finds its way to the feet of Russell Cicerone. See Dakers begging for the ball, and Cicerone almost found the path through against Kyle Nelson.
Yeah, and you see he was very close to getting it. It was a great run through, and he was very unfortunate there not to just get his touch under control there.
Well, fans, it's Saturday night, which means one thing: several USL Championship matches happening right now. We'll update you with some scores around the league. Louisville City leading Birmingham 2-0 in the 42nd minute. 3-1 Loudoun to Charlotte Independence at full time. And Nashville leading Swope Park 3-0 at half-time. We'll keep you up to date with some of these scores around the league. Like we mentioned, things very tight at the top of the Eastern Conference. 2 months are in the books of USL Championship play.
And I think what the crowd are saying there, that that's equally I mean, that's probably more of a foul than the last two we've seen from Anunga, and the referee's not done anything there. But as I said, I think that's what Taylor Mueller's saying. Let's keep it consistent. No one wants to see players getting cards unless they're really deserved, but a little bit frustrating there from Taylor Mueller to the referee.
Candela with space in front goes out wide to Van Schaik. Battery just dictating the tempo of the play. Nelson. Now some pressure starts to be applied from the trio up top from the visitors. He pops one out the back. Can't find the feet of Rittmeyer though.
I think sometimes the Battery are better on a counter-attacking, rather when St. Louis just dropping. Here's Daly going to show his pace now.
An interesting matchup against the veteran Sam Fink, the youngster Naku Daly, and he forces a corner over there. And back to your point, Derek, I think veteran defenders just not sure how to deal with it.
Well, again, Fink's not used to playing against a young, lively, spiteful player, and as I said, I'm sure that it's caused him a problem.
Taro Higashi, the Japanese veteran, making his way in for Zico Lewis. And what a good match Zico Lewis has had.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little strange one there. Unless he's picked up a little knock there, because he certainly looks one of the most creative players there. But very similar type of player, Higashi. So it'll be interesting to see what Coach Hauser's thinking. Maybe they're looking to go a little bit more direct.
Candela with the in-swinger punched away by Fenlerson. Kotaro Higashi straight on the ball as a sub, making his way back from a little knock he picked up. Takes the deflection. Nicely controlled by the Cameroonian international. Taro Higashi, what a great story he has. Paid his way to open trials from Japan. Impressed Mike Anhauser in 2017. Had a stellar season, won Newcomer of the Year in the same year, and really been a bit of a mainstay on the side ever since.
Yeah, he's just coming over. This season's been a little bit stop-start with his injuries and stuff, and as I said, I'm sure he'll be looking to get some more consistent minutes into his game, because he's a very exciting player when he plays.
Another one that's extremely agile, might not have the height, but certainly makes up for it in agility. Here he is on the ball now. Nicely out wide to Piggott. Boshua. Solid feet from the striker. Nicely turned in the middle of the park, and there's another example of Vincenzo Candela, 110% through Boshua. Outside the box, leads it for Daly, who couldn't quite get anything on it. Fenlerson quick off his line.
Yeah, and I think there that shows that there's a little bit of naivety of the young lad Daly. He runs, actually makes probably not the greatest run there. He runs across the front of the goal, maybe to try and take the defender away. Great play by Boshua, fantastic tackle by Candela that got the team out. And as I said, that's where you'll see the good and the bad of this youngster. He's got to learn to make those little bit more creative runs so that he can certainly get into better positions.
Boshua and McHugh Daly, both on their first professional contracts, their first season with Mike Anhauser's side.
And Coach Anhauser does a great job of finding these kids and these young players, and he develops them well, and he brings them, gives them good starts, and then he believes in them, which is another thing. It's great to have youth on your side, but when you need a coach that believes you and is prepared to play you, which is really what he is prepared to do. And when they reward you with goals like last week, or performances last week, that makes it even easier.
You're absolutely right. What a challenge that was from Rittmeyer in the middle of the park. It's like he just took maybe a knock to the head. This will bring up Bobby Weisenberger of MUSC Health. Always taking fantastic care of the players, actually celebrating his 10th year with the club. Let's have another look at this.
Yeah, I think it was just it was the follow through. He just caught his head, and I think referee does everything right there. Doesn't he? Any head injury, you've got to stop the game, and all the players will take time now to get some fluids on at this time. It's still a very warm and humid night here. You can't see it on the TV. It's a great night for soccer, but it is, it's cooled down. I think it's what, 75 degrees now. So no, and this game's very nicely poised. I mean, as I said, for a 0-0 or a 0-0, as we say, it's a really competitive game. Could still go either way. I mean, both teams I think are really looking to get to 3 points, and as we enter into the last sort of 15, maybe 17, 18 minutes, it's all to play for.
Summer is fast approaching, so I'm sure all the players out there relishing this opportunity to play in a nice breezy and cool 75 degrees. Before we get into the heat of the summer, here is Nico Rittmeyer. Looks to be up and okay, but we'll see if Mike Anhauser makes the substitution.
Yeah, I think with these head injuries now, people that the protocols that are in place now, they'll get him off, they'll have a look at him. Coach Anhauser will see how he does. I'm sure he's not desperate to use a third substitution the way the game's keenly poised, but it looks like they're going to take him off now, let the doctor have a look at him and see how quick it is. But he won't want to leave this too long, so you need to make a quick readjustments technically and tactically, and then see if we'll get another player coming in.
You're absolutely right. I think that is going to bring up the opportunity for another substitute. We'll hope that Nico Rittmeyer is okay. Of course, like you mentioned, so important to take those injuries seriously. AJ Patterson is the one who has pulled his jersey on down below. The Key Largo native from Wright State University, actually signed with Philadelphia Union and played at Bethlehem Steel last season, and he will make his way on for Nico Rittmeyer. And he will bring some height to the box on these set pieces.
No, he's the biggest lad. Now the referee's going to go and talk to Mike Anhauser. As I said, that's just frustration. He's making a substitution. I think that's just where officials need to work together. As I said, he asked them to kick it out so he could make the substitution, and the referee, I think, was actually doing it, and I think there's a little bit of confusion there. He's given the throw, and hopefully now order's been restored.
Cal Nelson will take it quickly back to the captain.
Great sportsmanship from St. Louis there, because they put it out so they could make the substitution, and I think that's what was confusing Coach Anhauser, and they've done it, and then they haven't pressurised, so game's back on.
15 minutes left to go here from Charleston, South Carolina. Poppy Miller alongside Derek Broadley. Of course, we mentioned it earlier, but a shout out to those joining us from St. Louis, Llewellyn's Pub and Hat-Tricks. Welcome to the ESPN production for this year's USL Championship matches. Kosminski quickly out of the back to Kyle Nelson.
So the Battery now have played all their cards. They've got all their 3 substitutes on right now. And, I think Anthony Pulis has one more up his sleeve should he need it. But as I said, still a very close game right now.
AJ Patterson denied with the delivery to the box. Van Schaik picks up the loose ball. Taro Higashi looking to drop back in his space. Dikwa. He's got Greg up top with him. We'll go back to the substitute Dakers.
And Schaik was a little bit slow recovering there, and I think that's something he's got to work on, just getting back into his shape. Although Patterson's a likely debutant for that as well, should he need him.
Like we mentioned, these two teams are very close to each other in the Eastern Conference. Just 2 points separates them. St. Louis sitting 3rd and the Battery at 5th, tied on points with 4th place North Carolina FC though. And of course, Red Bulls sitting at the top, tied on points with the Tampa Bay Rowdies, who remain undefeated so far this season, off to a flying start with Neil Collins.
I mean, this division, this Eastern Conference is it's always close every year. You know, you've got the same sort of clubs working, you know, very well established USL clubs with great sets of players, and it's very, very competitive.
Greg goes to ground to try and keep it in. Can't quite manage it, but there Romario Piggott does lose his footing, but it'll be a free kick for the Battery.
And there you go. That's very intelligent play by Piggott. What he done is he lost the ball, he slipped, and then what he done is he tried to recover and just threw himself in front of the ball, and he drew a free kick there, which I think was very, very fortunate.
He takes his time assessing his options out the back. Gives a chance for everyone to get in the attack.
And normally it happens in games, you know, we've had 4 or 5 substitutions, the game gets a bit scrappy, loses a little bit of shape, and then it settles down, and then we've got this last sort of 15 minutes where both teams now can just settle down and see if they can go for the 3 points and take a victory. If you're, you know, St. Louis, take it home. If you're the Battery, do it. But you also get to the point now where you don't want to lose the game. So we'll see, you know, at what point that comes in, certainly for the away team.
And of course, the Battery do have their fans on their side. Unfortunate for the camera view. So many of them down below us. Here's a chance at the top of the box. Peppered with so much pace behind that one. Here's Cicerone. The danger isn't over for the Battery, but a loose ball looking for a bend.
And that was a loose one, wasn't it, by Candela? And, you know, great save by Kuzminski. Again, another shot from outside the box. It was a routine save, a good save. He got it well out of danger, but as I said, it was a loose one by Candela.
See how much pace it had on it, though. Here's Cicerone, delivers one towards the back post. And AJ Patterson is home. Here's Higashi. He's starting to really open up now. He's only got Daly in front of him. And nicely done, he'll take the throw. 10 minutes left to play here of regulation. 0-0 is the score. Will we find a game winner in the final 10 of tonight's match?
The game's had really everything that you could want from an attacking game other than a goal. You know, there's been some really good chances. There's, you know, a lot of it's been from outside the box, but you know, it's been an exciting game for the fans that are here. You know, as I said, for a 0-0, it's been a really good, encouraging game. 2 good teams, and hopefully we've still got a chance to get one.
Candela dispossessed at the top of the box. Could this be a breakaway for the visitors? It's Anunga tracking back. Cicerone on the run, though. We know how dangerous Russell Cicerone can be, and what a fantastic challenge that is from the rookie out the back.
Yeah, and that's great defending there. You know, he'll really need that. He's had a couple of shaky little passes, but when you do good defending, that's real quality.
Here we go at the other end of the pitch. Naku Daly will be offside, though. But you've got to say he loves to hang on that last defender, and it's paid off for him in the last couple of matches.
Yeah, and again, that's these are the little things he's got to learn as a player. You know, you can see he just strolled into an offside position. It was a great run. He's just gone too early, and with his pace, he really doesn't have to go that early. So, as I said, every minute he plays, he will grow in stature and understand the game, because he's a good learner. And as I said, I think he's a prospect that, you know, certainly Mike Anhauser thinks is going to be around for a while.
Absolutely right. He was a key contributor for Jamaican youth international side in the CONCACAF Championship, scouted by Mike Anhauser, who, like you said, does a fantastic job of finding these players. Dikwa into a bend. A bend chips one to the back, looking for Greg. Nothing to come to fruition that time.
No, I think he's thinking now probably could have had a shot. It was a good distance for a shot, especially on this surface. I think that, you know, in that last build-up play, you know, again, Nelson thinks he should have had a foul, and I think quite rightly. Again, I think the referee sometimes he's let some things go, and it confuses the players. But you know what Nelson needs to do is not stop and wait for the referee's decision.
Boshua drops deep into the midfield to try to win the aerial duel. And again, here's that battle we've been talking about, Kyle Nelson and Albert Dikwa. This time roles are reversed, and Kyle Nelson will earn the free kick.
And Anthony Pulis there is absolutely livid. You know, your defenders puts your attacker puts your defender under a lot of pressure, and you give away a silly free kick, and yeah, that's not good.
Here's Joe Kuzminski making his start tonight for the black and yellow. Him and Taylor Mueller, the only two to have started every game this season for Mike Anhauser. See the referee there having a word with Anthony Pulis down on the sideline. Back underway here down below us, Carl Nelson. The flick on is there for Daly. Trying to pick up the second ball. Nice touch from Van Schaik.
Yeah, since all the substitutions, the game's got a little bit chippy. It's lost its little bit of quality, and it's got a little bit scrappy and then a little bit chippy with that. So it's hopefully we can get a good last 10 minutes or 7 minutes.
Nicely turned by Boschua there. Candela for Higashi. Higashi with space at the top of the box. Opted to go out wide for Patterson, but nothing to come of it on that occasion.
Yeah, just a little bit of a loose pass there by Higashi there. He just needed to roll it to Patterson's feet, and he was in. So as I said, a little bit of quality's gone out of the game. It's become a little bit more physical, a little bit more competitive. And you know, it'd be nice if it went back and we could get the last sort of 5-6 minutes and see if there could be one more chance. Certainly the home team fans will be looking for that, and I'm sure if you're Anthony Pulis, you'll be expecting one more from your team as well.
So Anthony Pulis down below is getting ready to make his final substitution of tonight's match. Paris G putting on his jersey. Canadian will come on, and we will see who he comes on for. Russell Cicerone makes his way out. Paris G comes in. And an interesting change there, a defensive change for an attacking player.
Yeah, I think so. And you know, Cicerone again, you can see he's a very talented player. You know, he's shown little glimpses, but tonight he probably just hasn't had the complete game that he would be looking for. He's played in spurts and not really played, and not really had the chances that he would want to have. And you know, no player likes coming out, but sometimes, you know, coaches have to make those decisions, and I think it's a justifiable one on tonight's performance.
Paris G will find himself out wide on this flank. The Canadian spent the last 2 seasons with Tulsa Roughnecks. 42 starts out of the 52 games he appeared in. 4 goals throughout his career there. Well won at the back by the captain, Sam Fink. Fall straight to the hands of goalkeeper Joe Kuzminski. Candela. Dispossessed in the middle of the park. Here's Paris G. Picking up some speed down this flank. Cut straight in between, and this is an opportunity, and what fantastic saving that was from Kuzminski. It will be offside though.
Yeah, as I said again, I think that's great defending by Taylor Mueller there. He's marshalled his defence there, and he just let him run offside again. And I think his contribution tonight, Taylor Mueller, really wouldn't go unnoticed from his head coach. You know, as I said, he's been a real good leader. You know, he's marshalled his team, and as I said, he's got 2. You know, one player who's very experienced who doesn't normally play there, and a youngster that he's really trying to develop. So fantastic defending again from the captain, Taylor Mueller.
Anthony Pulis actually has one more substitution to make. This will be his final one. Oscar Umar down below, jerseyed up on the sideline and ready to go. Ghanaian midfielder makes his 5th appearance tonight for St. Louis. And he will come on in replace for the Englishman Lewis Hilton, a like-for-like substitution that time.
Yeah, I think I think he thinks this game's there to be won. You know, he certainly doesn't think he can lose it. You know, the substitution have been very positive, and as I said, the battery being forced into making that last one, because Nico Rittmeyer did have a really good first half, and as I said, I think that the substitutions haven't really helped the battery. I think they've certainly helped St. Louis, and that's one more roll of the dice to see if we can get the winner on the road.
Unorthodox from Carl Nelson out the back. Here's Piggott.
Pokes his head up, but sees nothing on that time for Anunga.
Nagashi. Nice turn from the Japanese veteran, and that was almost a chance.
Boshua is there in the box. The referee says nothing to come of it. Get up. And Sam Fink very lucky there.
Yeah, no, he got very casual there at this stage of the game. Great run by Boshua, and you can see once he realised he wasn't going to get it, he sort of tried to play for the free kick. Oh.
Candela is brought to ground in the middle of the park. That is going to be a yellow card for the substitute, Oscar Umar, who came on just minutes ago.
Number 17, Oscar Umar.
And, you know, I've got two thoughts on this one. You know, to come into a game as a substitute, this stage of the game, and the tempo of the game, I don't think that's a real bad foul, but it is a yellow card. But if it, you know, for a player coming in, it's just like welcome to the game, welcome how quick it is, and as I said, a shame for the player because, as I said, I think it's just not being in tune with the game right now.
Candela back to Banshee. Numbers in the attack for the Battery. St. Louis with every player back behind the ball. Anunga with the delivery. Boshua's in the box. It's Patterson that gets ahead on it. No worries at the back for Fenderson.
And you can just see a change of tactics just by having Patterson in there. It's the first ball that they've thrown in really throughout the whole game. They've got a big guy in Patterson. He got on the end of it, so you know it's just a slightly different tactic and an unusual chance. Now we're getting to the point where, you know, I think I'm going to pick the man of the match, and you know, I'm going to give it to Taylor Mueller tonight. As I said, the Heineken man of the match, I'm going to give it to Taylor Mueller. I think, you know, over the last two games, he's marshalled his defence to come in and work with players that are learning the game and the way he's played and the way his team's defended. I think he's been outstanding, and I hope that, you know, for his sake, that his team can just hold this result till the end now.
Here he is battling with Dakers. We'll get back to that in just a minute. A bend. Safety in numbers from the Battery. Umar into the mix, and Mueller one out to the back. Dakers with the delivery this time, and Kyle Nelson comes rolling through. That'll be a goal kick for the Battery. But back to your point, Eric, you must have read my mind. Taylor Mueller, the Heineken man of the match. And 0-0 the score. 3 minutes left to play here of added on time. And you've got to say things really starting to open up now.
Yeah, I think right now, again, you know, St. Louis are finishing the game the way they started it. They're on top. The Battery look a little bit ragged. I don't think the substitutions of the last substitutions really helped the Battery. It's made them a little bit disjointed. And again, the unpredictability of the players they brought on a little, you know, has not really helped them. And the substitutions, I think that St. Louis has made has definitely, you know, gave them an advantage for this last 10 minutes.
It was Paris G on the run. Couldn't quite keep up with the ball, but here comes Tarbran Anunga down the other end of the pitch. Naku Daly battling with Kavita, and Fenderson scoops to safety. The first minute of 3 in the books. And do you think 0-0, if the score is to stay the same, is quite a fair result for these sides?
Yeah, I think that, you know, for sure, you know, St. Louis started off the game really, really strongly. I think the Battery came back in, and I think right up until the substitutions were made, the Battery were on top. But I just think making this, you know, when you're forced into making substitutions that you haven't planned out, just makes it a little bit awkward. Nico Rittmeyer was having a good game, and he's an important player in that position, and he was although he was a vital part of hampering the way St. Louis played. But no, if you look at the whole game as there, I think both coaches will be very happy based on the game. You know, the Battery will be a little bit more disappointed because they're a home team. But again, if they can keep their unbeaten record intact, their home record intact, they'll be happy. And I'm sure, you know, Anthony Pugh's, you know, it's another point on the road. It's another way that he hasn't been beaten on the road. So he'll be, you know, deep down, both coaches will be happy. And, you know, this is two top teams playing, and a draw is not such a bad result.
Pigott back to Anunga. Lofty ball into the attack to the top of the box. Reynolds to clear.
And the final thing to say, you know, Mike Anhaz has had to deal with a lot of injuries, and he'll be happy. You know, his young players have definitely come in and done well.
Pigott into the box. Patterson's there at the back post. Candela loses his footing. Here's Dakers, the substitute, showing his fresh legs there. He's trying to take on everyone, and Taylor Mueller brings him back. Dakers furious. And Mueller just retreats to the back line. I think he knew that was coming.
Yeah, I think, you know, and again, you know, I don't want to encourage young players to do that, but that's what you call a true professional foul. He's beaten for pace, and, you know, this stage of the game, there's, you know, less than 30 seconds left in the game. He's just doing one for his team. Now, you know, the danger's not over, and it could prove to be not a great decision, but if they finish off this game 0-0, then you say that's a great decision that the captain's made for the good of the team.
Well, this very well could be the last kick of the match. The referee yarding out where the wall can fall. Sam Fink, the captain, leads St. Louis in goals, 3 goals on the season. He is delivering some height into the box. Here he is, he's looking for him, and Boshua beats him to the races. Umar to the top of the box. Patterson gets knocked down. I'll tell you what, I'm not sure if AJ Patterson has moved then.
No, as I said, and right now I think Taylor Mueller will be saying to him, just stay down, take out. I mean, the game's over now with you know, 30 seconds over, and he's just took a shoulder. Yeah, he's been hit head on, probably a little bit winded. He'll be okay. He'll get up, and as I said, I think now that you know, the game's out, and you know, overall, as I said, I know 0-0's not the ones the fans want to see, but I think it's been a very entertaining game. I think we've seen 2 of the top teams in this division battle it out. As I said, it's been a very tactical game, very entertaining game, and as I said, for me personally, I think it's been a very enjoyable game to watch, and hopefully, you know, the viewers at home think the same.
Like we mentioned, both teams with just 1 loss on the season so far. There is the final whistle from MUSC Health Stadium. It remains scoreless. Both teams will take a piece. And Derek, scoreless, but like we mentioned at halftime, there was several chances, and there were several in the second half as well.
Yes, no, I mean, as I said, as a game, you know, the game to and froed all the time. You know, St. Louis started off well, Battery came back into it, Battery got in front. Second half was the same thing. I thought Battery started the second half, you know, in their ascendancy, they were doing very well. And then, to be fair, you've got to give it St. Louis. As I said, once the substitutes started happening, came back into the game. Both teams created some very good chances. Both goalkeepers had solid games without having to make great saves. And you know, both of them will be happy with clean sheets. But again, to me, Taylor Mueller is in our picture right now. I think that the adversity that he's dealing with now, with the amount of injuries that he's dealing with, and he's playing with different people every week, I think he was an outstanding leader tonight, and I think he fully deserves the man of the match. And you know, as I said, I know him off the field and what he does with young players, and I think this is what he's all about, and he's definitely a Battery player through and through.
A difficult schedule for both these sides coming up after tonight's match. Of course, midweek games will fall for each of them with the Open Cup. St. Louis will then take on their next opponent on the road as well on Saturday, and for the Battery, they'll head to Lucas Oil Stadium to take on Indy 11 after their match against Greenville on Wednesday night. Well, let's take a look at some highlights from tonight's match, because like we mentioned, there's been several chances for either side, and here's where we'll start off. Jepson and Hilton over the ball. That was a brilliant free kick.
Yeah, and then here we have is the other one here where, you know, again, this is one that they think they could have scored. Here's a little one here from Zico Lewis with the header for Boshua. That was a great save. And then we had, you know, an array of several shots. It was, you know, Dante Marini's first one. He comes in. Then it was the Piggott show. He come in and had a couple. Here's Zico Lewis's one in the second half that he just couldn't get hold of. He'd like that one back. And then there's that was that loose pass by Candela and a really good solid save by Kuzminski. It was the only one really that I think it was, again, comfortable save. But both teams will be very happy with the point. I think it was, certainly a very good game for the neutrals and for both home fans. Yeah, disappointing not to get the win, but very comfortable with how their team's playing, especially with the injuries that they've had.
Next Saturday, St. Louis will be at Slugger Field to take on the reigning USL champions away before returning to home soil. And that just about wraps things up from Charleston, South Carolina. On behalf of Poppy Miller, Derek Broadley, Nick, our producer, Matt on replay, and the entire broadcast crew, thank you so much for joining us for tonight's game. We'll see you next time.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.